What's going on, everybody? It's Iman, back with another weekly outlook. I just want to have this pre-recorded in advance, and for us to go over just a few things in the market to close out the rest of the week. Starting off with the fundamentals, taking a look at what we have on the Forex Factory. We had relatively solid news. We had solid plays come out, and we had unemployment claims. We have unemployment claims today, or tomorrow, I should say, and then we have FOMC members speaking. So that will greatly affect any indices or USD pairs, right? Unemployment claims, big mover. FOMC, big movers, right? And with that being said, one thing to note is for those who tuned into Powell speaking today, Powell actually did mention a lot about inflation and interest rates. So right now, how the Fed is positioning themselves is they need to see more evidence of inflation easing to essentially cut interest rates. And one thing to note is the Fed is most likely, I'd say maybe the probabilities are 80% being yes and 20% being no, that we will see multiple rate cuts this year. We have a lot of bullish opportunities being present sometime soon. I'm assuming, don't quote me on this, but I'm assuming sometime in summer, simply due to the fact that this is 2024, this is an election year, so it's going to be very crucial to know going into the election. Obviously, things don't want to be looking as bad, but that's just my take on it. But just from a logical standpoint, that's what I feel. But we will be having multiple rate cuts this year, so please stay tuned to that. That will provide a lot of bullish opportunities for both US30 and NAS, right? So starting off, let's go to Friday. Friday to close out the week, we have a lot of CAD news, we have a lot of USD news, and we have the biggest driver right now. We have NFP on Friday. As you guys know, it is going to be April 5th. We are in the first week of April. So what does that mean? The first Friday of every single month, we have NFP. And yeah, we definitely see some heavy movement. My positioning, I'm just starting to recently take a look at NASDAQ. Mark it up. It has beautiful structure lately. Especially on the higher time frame, right? We can see consistent higher highs, right? A little bit of consolidation and chop in between, but keep in mind that we are nearing all-time highs on the Nasdaq as well. And what is that? What are we also doing on US30? We have pretty much broken all-time highs, so we are also in that range. We are in a 700-point range on US30 or YM, right? Depending on whether you trade. But yeah, nearing the range, we're nearing the all-time high, so we could definitely see some interesting price action, especially with NFP lurking around the corner, right? So I want to keep this a little bit short and sweet. I gotta take medicine, and I'm most likely gonna be knocked out up until London session, so I guess I'll see you guys there for my London traders. But yes, NFP to close out the week, unemployment rate, and average early hours. So these could be very heavy drivers for NAS and US30, right? So let's take a look at NASDAQ. Again, I just want to give you a little bit of brief rundown of what I see on the NASDAQ. NAS100, again, I use Atlanta, and I just want to mark it out. We do have proper structure. We know with this high getting taken, right? We have a little bit of a breaker structure, and then we have a perfect retracement into our support resistance levels. Lines up with our fib, not quite to our golden zones, 79, but we do have healthy retracement into 62 and the 50%. And sometimes that's all you really need on the higher time frames, right? Look, we are in some sort of a bullish channel. But these levels do look clean, right? It looks just beautiful, right? And look at where we are, especially on the monthly. I want to emphasize that we are in all-time highs, so we will have some interesting price action, especially at this being the beginning of quarter two. So that's one thing to note as well. We are in the first week of Q2, so we will see some beautiful stuff, right? That's gonna wrap up Nasdaq for there. For US30, let's take a look at it. Okay. Did have our beautiful swing setup. We were swinging this for quite some time. Shout out to those who held. Beautiful R 1 to 10, 80 points to essentially make 800. Beautiful stuff, right? And we have the same kind of thing going on right here. I do believe we are still bullish, simply due to the fact that we did have solid candle closure. We did have a break of structure. We have a resistance warning. Obviously, we are at the all-time high, so I will draw out those resistance, right? But what can we see here? Honestly, we were due for a solid retracement. With that being said, a solid retracement into taking the all-time high. Because we are so high up, NFP could really be the driver. So I have really two scenarios for US30 that I'm taking a look at. Either we can come back down, we have tested the solid support, right? We have support on this side. We have price taking lows on this side. We have solid structure, price coming back down for the retracement, and I'll draw that out in a little bit. But what I can see is price eventually coming back down for a third time and then pushing up, right? Or I can essentially, we can see price just try to break out right here, right? And I'd say ideally, this is my first take profit right here. We do have a supply zone drawn out right here. We have a supply zone right here, so that's one thing to note. But if we do break through that, what I can see essentially going on from here is I can see, you know, aiming to our next level of resistance, right? We all know with NFP and with so many fundamentals around the corner, this could easily be a driver for the markets. And since we are maintaining bullish structure on US30, I am therefore bullish, right? I'm always bullish on the stock market. This is the top 30 stocks in the US, so we're always going to be bullish on that. Rarely ever bearish, but when we are, right, for good reason, right? So definitely got to keep an eye on that, but that's just definitely a play. I'm sure, shout out to Ali, he's the one who gave this play, and you know, the same things. And we took it together, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to anybody who else took it. It's going to be a beautiful play. It's going to play out soon. So gold has been very interesting in the sense of, okay, it's been interesting in the sense of there is no real structure. Ever since we broke out, there has been no real structure, right? We're at all-time highs, right? Guys, I cannot emphasize that enough. We are at all-time highs. When I say we are at all-time highs, I mean there's no data to the left, right? It's very scary stuff because right now, this is the only type of price action that I actually do see for gold, right? And, you know, with that being said, I can kind of gold doing one of two things. We are in, it looks like we're trending in like a bullish wedge. I can see price coming back down and then expanding, right? But we don't know. I can't give like actual price target yet because we have no data to the left. Literally, we don't. All-time highs. So I will expect gold to keep ripping. This is the only type of, I guess, retail pattern that I see. Aside from that, we don't have any actual real structure, right? We don't have healthy retracements. We don't have, especially on the higher time frames, we don't, right? On the daily, it just looks like it's gonna straight like rocket, right? So that's something to note. That being said, but if we do end up having some sort of correction, right, soon, demand is so high, so I'm expecting gold. I'm hopefully expecting gold to have some sort of retracement, right, come back down, and the target would be this higher time frame low, this 1 hour, 4 hour low, right? We can take back down liquidity right here. We can come back up, hopefully for another healthy retracement, and we can come back down ultimately to our next area of support, right? This is the ideal setup that I would like to take. Ideally, again, simply due to the fact that you guys can see there's a beautiful head and shoulders formation, right? And this would basically be the confirmation that we are officially bearish. This would be one of the many confirmations that we're bearish, right? If anything, we can even draw another level of right here, support right here. And you can see how we have our left shoulder, we have our head, and then we have our right shoulder, and then we can see downward momentum clearing all this trend line liquidity as well. But again, not very likely considering how we are bullish on gold. Demand is just so high for gold. Especially in comparison to the DXY is going up, gold is going up. So what does that tell us? We tell us that the demand for gold overpowers the even actual influence of the dollar, right? It's kind of crazy to think because just yesterday we were sitting at the 2200s, and just overnight now we're up 100 points, right? Like actually unfathomable. So gold is just going to keep going up in my opinion. But I'm not trading this to protect my own capital, to be honest with you guys, because there's no real structure, and I don't want to risk my capital for if I'm just, you know, betting on the market, right? I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to take calculated risks with calculated edge and calculate trades, period, right? So waiting for some type of actual healthy structure to form, but that's gonna wrap it up. So again, beautiful setup that we've had on GJ swings. Shout out to anybody who took that, right? Beautiful setup. Took a long time to play out, right? But we had multiple confluences for this trade. We have our overall area of demand right here with our support, and guys, I can't emphasize this enough. When we have a demand and a support, what does that tell us? We tell us that is a high probability zone. Not only do we have our demand, we have our area of demand and our support. What does it tell us? This trade was just really textbook in my opinion, right? Let's go up to the hourly, because this is where I saw the setup on. We have our fib retracement. We have healthy fib retracement, right? Into our golden zone, in our golden area, the 79. And then on top of that, we also have a higher time frame bullish channel, right? Bullish channel, healthy, higher lows being created all around. We have our areas of support and resistance, And yeah, it's just very textbook stuff. And I just listed out 3 confirmations to even take this trade. So right now it looked like we were just purging the lows, going in for healthy area demand right here on the 30. Purge the low, we had support, demand, trend line tap. And what did that do? Influence this price to the upside. We took the breakout right here because, again, I'm fundamentally bullish on XXX JPY. Anything JPY, I'm fundamentally bullish because what do we know about the JPY? The JPY did here is 34-year low against the US dollar, and the US dollar, being the world reserve currency, effectively influences other currencies. So we know Japanese yen is ultimately the weakest. Even in comparison to the GBP, AUD, these other currencies, we know Japanese yen is ultimately going to be the weakest, right? Now, one thing I can expect, or one thing I'm anticipating, hopefully this gives it to us, but we do have our areas of supply right here that I'm expecting price tapped into it, but didn't give us quite the correction that I wanted. Hopefully, I'm waiting for the highest probability setup in which we have some sort of a correction right here, and then we target our next area of resistance, right? Ultimately going back down higher low because of this massive candle of displacement volume right here, bullish momentum. But as we know, look at what price is doing right now. As we know, most likely price will keep continuing forward, right? So not in any rush to take any trades right now. But one thing I can also see is we can come back down right here. And why I say over here to this area is because if you look left, we also have another area of interest. We have another support being created. We had a classic break and retest of this area of support being created. Boom, to the upside, right? Simple stuff, but I'm definitely not in a rush to take this trade, but I will set an alert. I have an alert set around this area, so if price does inevitably come back down here, it would be a beautiful execution. Safe stops, smart stops, and yeah, something I got my eye on. Gold. So you guys are feel free to take a screenshot, but GJ, gold, US30, NAS. We're gonna close out NFP on Friday, so please brace for that. And yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. I will hopefully get better, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.